Here we have a no line reference question, right? So what are we going to do if we haven't read the passage? If we're using the no reading strategy, this seems like the kind of thing where we might have some trouble because we don't know where to look. And they're very clearly asking us for some very specific fact, right? According to the passage, researchers have identified which mechanism as potentially responsible for the initial attraction between the microscope tip and the salt. This sounds super complicated, right? This is a very specific thing that they want. And it doesn't help that they're using a lot of terms that might be unfamiliar to me, like nano-imprinting or van der Waals interactions. But that shouldn't scare me. Now, one way to handle a situation like this is to skim the passage and look for the weird words. So that might be some of the words in the question itself, but it could also be the choices, right? So if van der Waals interactions is the answer, presumably that would be an easy word to spot in the passage if I'm skimming because it's such a weird looking word. But we also have another tool that we can use. We have the chronology rule, and this is what I use whenever I hit questions without line references. It gives me a narrower place to skim. So in this case, if I were to look at the questions that are around number 26, I would see two very obvious line references, 20 and 42. So I would start my skimming at 20, and I would skim until 42, and the odds are very, very good that somewhere in that place is this answer. Now, if it's not, I can always read more. That's the best part about the chronology rule. That's the best part about the no reading strategy is it starts us with smaller chunks of text. It narrows our focus to less stuff. But if we can't find the answer, we can always read more. That is not somehow prevented here. We can always read more if we need to. But in this case, here is the big chunk of text that we would want to read, about 20 to 45 I gave us. But I know what I want to look for as I skim. I want to talk about the initial attraction between the microscope tip and the salt. So, and rather than read everything, I'm just going to skip to the good part here. At line 39, they pretty much say exactly what they need to say to tell me, hey, here's the answer. The initial attraction between the tip and salt, might be due to electrostatic forces, perhaps good old van der Waals interactions, the researchers speculate. That's the answer. That's the whole thing, right? So we probably could have found that from skimming, but I had to skim less probably because I followed the no reading strategy and used the chronology rule, and it saves me a little bit of time, and I think that over the course of the test means that I have more time on all these kinds of questions that I can then put towards some of the harder stuff, and use the extra time to read when I really do need to read or reread or really dive into some choices. So that's what we're always trying to do. Just use our time in the places where it's going to be most effective for us. The chronology rule lets us shave a little bit of the passage out so that we can kind of skim less. And I think it adds up over the course of the passage. And notice here, I don't even need to understand what van der Waals forces are. It's not about the science. It's about finding the answer. That's what we're testing here. We're not testing physics. We're testing reading strategy and reading skill, and skimming effectively is an important skill. Practice it.